Bret, Glenn, guys, I really want to thank you for agreeing to join me here. How's the food look so far?
It looks delicious.
I want you to know I've spared no expense for this. No, I just wanted you guys to get together to let everybody know about a history between the three of us that not everybody probably knows about. Because we go back a lot of years, back to the USWA days, which that was our territory down in Memphis. Jerry Jarrett and I kind of owned the territory, so to speak, and we would, have different shows every single week. And gosh, Glenn, let me start with you in this long history. I mean, this was where you basically cut your teeth, got some of your earliest matches, right?
I was working for a small group out of St. Louis, very, very small. And one of my first breaks in the business was Jerry Lawler calls me and wanted me to come down to Memphis. And originally, I don't know if you remember this or not, I teamed up with another guy from southern Missouri. I can't remember his name.
And masked.
We were the Masked Russians. And we were like the Russian Olympic champions. Yes, it came in. I think that's what everybody was when they first started. They were like the mask, whatever. And I don't know exactly why I was Russians at that point. But anyway, so I think we came down, just did a couple shots, like did TV there at Channel 5 in Memphis. And wasn't very long because we weren't very good. But that was at least I got to Memphis. And
you guys were big, though. I remember that.
Yeah.
Hey, you were good.
And it was actually working a territory as opposed to, just going somewhere on a weekend.
One of those shots that you did for us down in Memphis has haunted you, right? For your entire career. My son Kevin promoted and ran some towns for us around the Memphis area. He really had a really good imagination as far as coming up with character ideas and that sort of thing. And so, did he come to you with the idea? Tell us about that.
Kevin and I kind of knew each other, of course, from my couple trips down to Memphis. He calls me. He's like, I have an idea for a character. It's called the Christmas Creature. So he mailed me these pictures, and it looked kind of like the Swamp Thing. Like it was a green suit with gold tinsel. So he sends it, and I'm like, what do I got to lose, man? I wasn't doing anything at the time.
Right.
So my mom actually made the suit for me.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes, she made the suit. It was extremely high tech because she integrated Christmas lights in it. We had a battery pack. So, it was way ahead of its time.
You're hearing about this for the first time?
Oh,
first time,
yeah. And, of course, I was terrible. I'd only been wrestling for a couple years, didn't know what I was doing.
This is the Christmas Creature. He is huge. Oh, my goodness.
And it actually lasted for longer than I think anyone thought it would, because it went past Christmas into the middle of January. So I had a great run.
Overstayed your welcome, right? Stayed past Christmas.
Yeah.
Pictures of that character resurface every now and then, right?
Oh, yeah,
so people come up and ask you to sign.
Yeah, because it's like somehow they thought that I must have been the Christmas Creature for like 10 years. Because it's like part of the mythology of my wrestling career. And I was like, it was only like a 2-week run, everybody. And it's been immortalized now on YouTube as well.
Well, you went through several different incarnations, different characters, and one of them involved you and I, Bret. To me, the greatest thing I've been involved with here in the WWE was our rivalry, Kiss My Foot match, and all of the things that led up to that match. And I just enjoyed that so much.
Bret the Hitman Hart, you want a rematch with me after I beat you single-handedly? Well, that's fine. You got it at King of the Ring. But it's under my conditions. And my conditions are these. The loser of this match is going to have to get down on his hands and knees and crawl across the ring, and then in front of the entire world, he's going to have to kiss the feet of the winner.
And I look back on it many times, and I enjoyed being the heel and being the bad guy in that scenario so much, but I know I made it really hard on you, because I would have guys come up to me and say, man, are you getting some real heat with Bret about the things you're saying about his parents?
12 kids. So Bret's got 11 brothers and sisters, is that right? Look at Mr. Hart here. I guess you used to not take no for an answer. Now you're at the age where you won't take yes for an answer, aren't you?
And that came from back in my Tennessee days. Jerry Jarrett and I, we used to have a sign on our office wall, and it said, personal issues draw money. And that's just the way I was brought up in the business. I thought that you had to really, if you could get personal with your opponent, you would draw the fans in, because then they could relate to somebody saying something bad about their parents.
I totally agree with that philosophy.
Yeah, but even I thought sometimes that I may have crossed the line.
Now, did you guys know each other before
Not really.
all of that?
No, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
But I'll just say there was a time when you started in the beginning where you started saying stuff about my mom and my dad putting his false teeth in backwards.
Anybody understand what he's saying? I got a clue. Why don't you put your false teeth in backward and eat yourself to death?
I just remember Owen coming up to me, and he was mad. He was really mad. Like, he goes, Jerry can't say whatever it is about our dad. He got me like riding with me or whatever. He kind of got me worked up in the car, and I'm like, he said that? And he said, yeah, Jerry Lawler said that right on the thing, you know, and it's like.
You know, when people want to find out what really irks me, what really ticks me off, it's when somebody like Jerry Lawler stoops so low and has the utter audacity to drag my poor family into things. When I go in the ring, I do my job, but I like to keep my family separate.
I mean, I remember vividly some of the things I said. You know, Helen Hart is one of the only people that I know that has an autographed copy of the Bible. And Stu and Helen Hart produced more tragedies than Shakespeare. And so, you know, but
I
you know
was
what?
really getting mad, and then I got mad, and Owen was getting as mad as I was, and it's like, and he got me really worked up, and then we went home.
Oh no!
And I went home, and I remember, like, I was all set to, like, you know, as soon as I saw Jerry, when I went back on the road or whenever, I was gonna tell Jerry to lighten up on the old man jokes on my dad and all that stuff. Yeah. And I just remember going up to my dad's house, and I come home and the show was on. And I just remember my mom laughing and my dad laughing, and they are just having the time of their lives laughing at everything that Jerry said. And I remember going, that's it. I am done with, like, I'm totally, and I saw Jerry after, and it's like, you say whatever you want.
Yeah,
they love it. They love it.
You told me that your mom said, "Oh my gosh, we love it. We're like part of the show now." I'll never forget that.
And Owen too. I remember when I saw Owen, he was like, wah, 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 like nothing. Like we didn't.
Well, I know I had a great time through our rivalry and some of the things we got to say and do leading up to that Kiss My Foot match. That to me was so much fun. We'd just come up with the funny stuff. And I was doing commentary with Vince at the time, and Vince would even come up with some sayings for me about, you know, talking about how bad my feet
Was that
were.
your idea, the Kiss My Foot, or was that Vince's idea?
Yeah, how did that all come about?
Someone asked me a few weeks ago, and I said, I don't know. I'll have to
Well,
ask Jerry.
it came about. It was Vince's idea, but it came about because of, you know, the thing that I would say every single night to the fans. You peons ought to get down on your hands and knees and kiss my royal feet.
And by the way, I might add, when I walk down that aisle, you know you should get out of your seats, kneel down and kiss my royal feet.
That was just part of my shtick as I was going in to every arena. But then Vince, I guess, something, you know, clicked in his head, and he was the one that actually came up with that match. And then he would tell me each week, he said, you know, tell the people that you have a hammer toe. And I go, what? I didn't even know what a hammer toe was, right? He said, tell the people you have a hammer toe and that you have bunions and all these calluses and everything. And so you know, to me, it was just fun.
You were such a master heel. Like, I can remember in those days there was some of the real diehard baby faces were starting to get turned on by the fans. That ECW kind of crowd was starting to kind of make it harder for the baby faces. And I remember it was right around that time, and I was working with Jerry, and it was like every night it's like I was so over as a baby face. I am the baby face. And that, like, nobody can out heel Jerry. Like, it's just, there's no way they're going to cheer Jerry. Jerry is the heel, absolute, and it was so easy. And
well, you know what happened during that time period? The Road Warriors had made being the bad guys or being the heels cool.
Yeah.
And a lot of the fans started thinking,
the anti-hero.
Anti-hero thing, yeah, anti-establishment. But I never subscribed to that theory. I did not want to be cool.
Every town I ever worked in, I remember going, heels, this is like even Philadelphia, because that's where it was, Philadelphia.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
It's like, they'll be with me, guaranteed. It's like, now they're booing the baby faces all night. It's like, trust me. they're going to go with me. They're not going to go with Jerry. And it was red hot as soon as we went out there. It was so easy.
Yeah.
It was like kindlewood. It was like so. I never saw anyone. I'll say this, and I've said it before, that was as good a villain as you. You were a master.
Gosh.
Like even with he'd have the broken cane, the crutch. I remember he had that aluminum crutch, but it was like a piece of it, and he'd still be trying to find a way to get me with and it was just, the art of deceiving and hiding like a cane or something like that behind your back and still using it. You were the best.
Well, when I came up at that particular time, to me, the philosophy was always that you show the fans that the good guy should always win unless the bad guy cheats. Mm-hmm. You just needed to cheat to win.
There was some guys that just didn't understand how to get heat the way I would say the Memphis territory guys knew how to get heat and generate heat with the crowd in a way that most guys couldn't. Like it was ahead. Because I know all the Memphis wrestlers that came through Calgary, from Honky Tonk to whoever came up, they got red hot heat. People would get mad, and it was they were just always. It was like the one thing you learned in Memphis is how to be a villain, how to be a heel, and how to be a dirty rat. And it was like that was.
It was just so much fun too. I mean, that was more fun than having to go out and think you got to please everybody every night, right? But culminating in our Kiss My Foot match, and I still don't know how you did it. I came out there with this nasty feet that I'd been walking around in horse manure and stables and stuff ready for the match.
I'm here in my royal stables with my prize horse Prince. He's helping me get ready, and you know how he's doing it? He's letting me walk around in his stall with my bare feet. And I'm not going to wash these feet, Bret Hart.
Somehow, he was supposed to kiss my foot, or at worst, I was going to kiss his foot. And my feet were just horrible looking, smelling horrible. And somehow I not only kissed your foot, but I was like a Gumby or something. He grabbed my leg and my foot, and he put my foot in my mouth.
He's gonna make Jerry Lawler kiss his own stinking foot. Look! Look! Unbelievable! Lawler is kissing his own foot.
I'm trying to remember. Someone, it might have been Pat, told me that to make sure that I put them together.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. Afterwards, we were downstairs, and they tell me, you need to be brushing your teeth and everything. When the camera's going to come down and visit, look in the locker room. So I'm brushing my teeth, and they said, okay, they're bringing the camera down. So just instantly, I just looked over, and there were some crackers. There's some actual crackers laying in, that somebody had been eating earlier from catering. Grabbed the crackers and I stuffed them up and crunched them up and put them in my mouth, and I took a big swig of Diet Coke, right? And so I'm standing there, rivers in my teeth, and in comes the camera right from the side, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I look at them, and there's a, and I just threw all of this up.
He's sick. Oh my goodness, Mr. Lawler.
It was so good it convinced Vince.
Oh, really?
Vince thought that I threw up, and afterwards he said, that was masterful. How did you make yourself throw up on cue? That led to the fact that you ruined my oral hygiene so bad that the storyline went then that I had to call in my personal dentist. They had to try to fix my oral hygiene. And of course, that turned out to be Isaac Yankem. Who told you that? Who was the first person that told you your name was going to be Isaac Yankem?
Vince.
Was it Vince?
Yeah, I had a tryout with WWE, and they worked with Reno Riggins. You remember Reno?
Sure.
Good hand. He made me look really good. Had a couple really good matches. So they signed me to a developmental contract and kept me in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. But then I go up to see Vince. Now, I'd never really talked to Vince before, just a couple times in passing. And of course, I didn't know him, and he's the most powerful guy in professional wrestling. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm just happy to be here at this point. And he looks at me and said, Glenn, have you ever been afraid to go to the dentist? I didn't know what he was getting. I didn't know if there's some sort of psychological, deep-seated thing. But I was like, I just told the truth. He's like, no. And then he says, I've always had an idea for this character. And later I I've been told that it was actually Bobby Heenan's idea for a wrestling dentist. But anyway, Vince said, a wrestling dentist, Isaac Yankem. Get it? I yank him. He literally does that too. And then he does the Vince laugh, where he goes, right. And he, I'm looking at him, and immediately I'm just like, oh man, you flew me all the way up here to tell me I'm gonna be a wrestling dentist. And I'm trying to keep a poker face because this Vince McMahon, this is a big break. Sure. But still, it wasn't necessarily like I thought. I considered myself in the role of a wrestling dentist before he brought that up.
But Glenn, you realize, and I want you to get back on that, but that was a point in time, and Bret, everybody was something. Everybody was a dentist. There was Duke the Dumpster Drosy, he was a garbage man.
Yeah.
There was a plumber.
Yep. T.L. Hopper.
T.L. Hopper.
Yeah. And it had gone, the company had really gone extremely PG and a lot of very cartoonish characters.
Yes. Not only were you a dentist, but you were such a caring dentist that he had actually allowed his teeth to rot out, to be just despicable looking, to show the young children that this is what can happen to your teeth if you don't take good care of them, right?
Yes.
So every time you would smile at the little kids, you just had
look up and they see
horrible
decayed, nasty teeth, which I had to apply myself actually with some horribly tasting enamel paint. Yeah.
I remember when all that was happening, I was actually at home shooting that Lonesome Dove TV show back then.
Oh, that's right.
So I was kind of not on the road, and I was I'd only work in the pay-per-views. And, and so I was only flying to the TV. I think I might have met you, might have kind of got the storyline. It's like he's a dentist, and it's like, I'm like, okay.
What?
Okay. So how did you find out about this?
Oh, Vince and I we were doing the commentary together, so we were together a lot, and he was the first one to tell me about that. And he was just kind of feeling out the storyline, so to speak, like where can we go from the Kiss My Foot match? What's next? And so that was just like part of his brainchild right there.
I mean, it actually makes a lot of sense. It really did.
Really did. And some other cool things that happened along that same time. You guys were having a match, and it was a cage match.
Yes, I remember. And you were suspended above the ring.
They put me in a cage and suspended me above the ring. And, of course, I was crying and screaming. I'm afraid of heights and all this sort of thing. And so you guys are battling away down there. And this is it may be too much information, but I've hit a long time ago and had a deviated septum, right? And so sometimes it would just bleed. Like if I some kind of way picked my nose wrong, it would just start bleeding on me. So I'm thinking this was a perfect time. It just came to me while they hoist me up in the air, and I'm up in there and I'm screaming at Vince. He's right down below me. I'm screaming, Vince, I can't stand heights. I'm scared to death up here. And he's go, you're all right, King, you're all right. And so while the camera was on you guys, I stuck my finger up there, I flicked that place in my nose, and man, blood just started pouring down my nose and out of my mouth.
Jerry the King, I think.
Let me down my nose. I can't.
He has a nosebleed.
And I looked down at Vince and I said, come on, I can't stand the hands, let me down. And I promise you, it was like one of the first times I looked, and Vince looked. When he saw that blood coming out of my nose, he really freaked out, because up until that point, there had been no blood allowed on the WWE show. It actually became kind of groundbreaking, because after that, leaked into a little more blood being shown on the TV shows. But
that's the Memphis Way.
It was the Memphis Way. It really was. But yeah, that was so much fun during that time. And like you survived the Christmas Creature, and you survived Isaac Yankem, and look at you now.
Well, and you all survived me too, actually. So the early days with me and you as the Christmas Creature, I think you seriously took your life in your own hands being in the ring with me, because I had just started. I was trying to do the best I could, but I just didn't know what I was doing. And so I think there were a lot of times you were probably out there like, oh, good Lord, this guy's gonna kill me. I'm a big, huge guy, and
no. Matches with you at that time were really easy, because I didn't have to do anything. I mean, working with somebody that looked as imposing as you at the time was just all about selling, and it was easy for the people to believe it.
And then, with Bret, I made some mistakes early on. I hadn't been around that long, and I was still feeling my way through, and I was just really kind of happy to be in WWE. And I was intimidated, because I've been watching you on TV, right? And then all of a sudden I'm in the ring with you, and I'm just like, yes, Bret, whatever you want to do, Bret, and Mr. Hart. And
it was big.
Yeah, it was just, that was hard because I was very timid, where I should have been much more aggressive. And I also, frankly, I just had a lot of trouble wrapping my mind around the character of the dentist. But I know that, you always tried to make me look as good as you could.
I always
just
thought,
somewhat challenging.
Like because I was off at the time, and I had time to really think about this one match. And I remember like thinking about it, and like not knowing anything about you or your work other than how big you are.
Yeah.
And a very limited sort of insight into what you can do and what you can't.
Right.
So I really kind of masterminded a pretty heavy match, like for a guy like you. I gave a very complicated and then this is going to happen, and then this. And then when that happens, there was a lot of stuff going on. And whenever I've seen that match back, it's always a pretty good match. Like you stepped into some big shoes,
yeah,
and
it was.
You really carried it that day. You did all the stuff you needed to do.
There was a lot of pressure. It was Bret the Hitman Hart,
even even the thing in the ropes.
Yes.
Was. Because I couldn't do like Fatuk, and some of these guys can just flip their weight and go right into that spot. I mean, even my dad could do it. I don't know how my dad could do it all the time, but he did all the time whenever they were working the angle in Calgary. But I could not do it, and even when I did have my head in those ropes, it was pretty intense. I remember I had to pull on them as hard as I could so I wouldn't black out, because it was cutting my carotid artery, as Gorilla Monsoon would say. And but I was always like really proud of what a good job you did. You pulled off a really detailed, complicated match at a really high position, like SummerSlam.
We were the semi-main event at SummerSlam, if I remember correctly. It was a big deal, and I'll never forget being in the ring. And you have these moments where it's kind of surreal because, and maybe you all don't because you've been doing it for so long, but where you're like, holy crap. And that's what happened that night when you came out and the music started playing, then the fireworks went off. And I'm in the ring going, wow, this just got like real.
Yeah, and this is me.
Call.
This is me in here.
It's me standing in the middle. What am I doing here?
To me, this business, has always been fun. I think because I'm like you, I never got over the fact that I was actually a wrestler. I was actually in a ring with people actually watching what I'm doing. From the first moment I ever did that, I would have paid the promoters to let me get in there and do what I was doing. Yeah. And that's how much fun it's always been. I think that moment was that for you too.
Yeah, I mean, and even later in my career, I would still get that. I'd be out there. Remember the first time me and Undertaker at WrestleMania. And people ask me about Undertaker's entrance. I'm like, it's very intimidating. Even if you're in the show with him, when he's walking down that aisle at WrestleMania, it's like, ooh. But it was the same with you, because you were such a big star at that time. So to have you come out was, wow, this is real. This is, I'm not just hanging out with Bret backstage, okay? I'm about to wrestle Bret the Hitman Hart in front of
thousands.
Yeah, in front of thousands of people and millions watching around the world.
I always remember it in a good way, where it was like, over a period of time, like after Piper and Perfect and then Davey, and it's like, okay, so you're the guy that's got to have the iconic match every pay-per-view, and it's like, and I put a lot of pressure on myself to really try to give the absolute best match I could. You could look back and go, yeah, and you know what? That match we had was one of those. It was a really good match. Like, it's very. Whenever I watch it go, that was a lot of weight to put on a guy's shoulders for the time that you've been in the business. And you carried it really well. I mean, I've always been really proud of what you did that day.
I very much appreciate that, but, it was all because of you. But I always felt about you like, you were never like the flashiest guy. You were the workman that went out and got the job done. But I also think that you're very underrated as an entertainer. And I think a lot of that just because of the character you portrayed. But then you saw what you did with Jerry in the Kiss My Foot match and the other stuff. I just have always thought that you were a great wrestler who wasn't appreciated enough for being a great entertainer as well.
Everybody in that dressing room knows that I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
Well, look. We didn't finish our food. Well, wait a minute.
I almost did.
You sure did. Good job. But look, guys, I really want to thank you for being here and joining me and just catching up with some great memories. I mean, I loved it. Thank you.
Well, it's always great to rehash some of the good old days.
Guys, thank you for coming here. I love catching up, and maybe we can do this again sometime.
A lot of good memories.
Yeah, a lot of good memories.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.